single message. That's all it takes. One ping on your phone can spiral into humiliation, blackmail, and even tragedy. Around the world, dozens of families are grieving children who couldn't escape the trap. The predators? A gang that doesn't hide, but flaunts their crimes online for the world to see. They are the BM boys. It begins in the bustling streets of Nigeria, where opportunity and desperation often collide. Out of this world, a new kind of criminal empire has emerged. They call themselves the BM boys. To the outside world, they look untouchable. On TikTok and Instagram, they flaunt their success with no shame. Videos of luxury cars revving through crowded streets, designer clothes draped over their shoulders, champagne bottles popping in smoky nightclubs. The message is clear. We are rich, we are powerful, and we are not afraid to show it. But behind the flash and glamour lies a much darker truth. Those stacks of cash, not earned through hard work, not built through business. Every dollar comes from blackmail. Every laugh, every dance on camera is fueled by someone else's fear. Their method is simple but devastating. A fake profile, a pretty face, a friendly message. Within minutes, they've built trust, posing as young women, flirting, sending carefully staged photos. And the target, often teenage boys, alone in their bedrooms, unaware that they are walking into a trap. Once the victim takes the bait, the mask comes off. Suddenly, the friendly conversation turns into threats. Screenshots appear, proof of what was shared, and then the demand: pay us hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars, or everyone you know will see. The sums vary: $500, $1,000, even $3,000. For a teenager, it might as well be millions. Enough to break a student, enough to shame a family, enough to destroy a life. And here's the chilling part: the BM boys don't bluff. If the victim refuses to pay, the threats become reality. Screenshots are blasted to parents, friends, classmates. Humiliation is their weapon. Silence is their shield, and fear is the currency that keeps their empire alive. For some, the BM boys' threats are not just frightening, they're unbearable. What starts as a simple message spirals into a nightmare with no escape. Investigators have traced at least 46 teenage suicides to sextortion networks like this one. 46 young lives, cut short not by bullets or knives, but by fear and shame. One story still haunts investigators. A 17-year-old boy from Michigan thought he was chatting with a girl his own age. The messages were playful. The connection felt real. Within hours, the tone shifted. What seemed private was suddenly a weapon. Demands for money came fast. He was told, "Pay, or everyone you know will see." Panic set in. The walls closed around him. That night, he left a note for his parents. The words were simple and devastating. "I'm sorry, I couldn't see a way out." By morning, he was gone. And his story is not unique. A 15-year-old in Canada collapsed into tears when his images were sent to classmates. A university student in France emptied his savings, only for the demands to continue. A teenager in the UK confessed the scam to a friend, whispering that he wished he were dead. Days later, he took his own life. From the US to Europe, the same pattern repeats. Thousands of victims across continents, all caught in the same digital snare spun from West Africa. Different faces, different countries, but the same cruel script: lure, trap, extort, and destroy. For grieving parents, the pain is almost impossible to comprehend. They never saw the predator, they never heard the threats. All they saw was a child who seemed fine one moment and was gone the next. In homes from Michigan to Manchester, families are left with the same unanswered question. How could something on a phone take my child's life? For the BM boys, this isn't just about money. It's about control, about power. They've turned humiliation into a business model and fear into a weapon. In interviews, some of these scammers admit they know the stakes. They know their victims are young, desperate, terrified. And that's exactly why it works. One scammer, caught in an undercover sting, boasted, "We don't need guns. Fear is enough. They beg us to stop. And if they don't pay, some of them end their own lives. That's when we know we've won." Cold words. But to the BM boys, it's just another payday. The formula is simple, but cruel. First comes the hook, an image too tempting to resist. Then the trap, a demand that escalates with every message. Finally, the stranglehold. The victim's silence becomes their noose. The BM boys thrive because they understand one painful truth. Shame can kill faster than violence. And here's the chilling twist. To them, this isn't crime, it's survival. Many of these young men live in poverty, scraping by on less than $1 a day. To them, extorting $500 from a teenager in another country isn't evil. It's opportunity. In their eyes, the victims are faceless, distant, almost unreal. Just numbers on a screen. But the pain is very real. Every dollar they flash online is built on tears, humiliation, and broken families. This is the psychology of power. Take what you don't have, exploit what others fear, and profit from silence. For the BM boys, it's not about who suffers, it's about who pays. And that's why, even as the world takes notice, the scams continue to spread. Faster than the law can keep up. The BM boys count on silence to keep their empire alive. But silence is what we break here. Subscribe to Cases of the Continent right now and stand with us in bringing these crimes into the light. For years, the BM boys hid behind screens. Their crimes traveled across borders, but their faces remained invisible. That changed when journalists and filmmakers started asking questions. Could these scammers be found? Could they be confronted? In a recent documentary, British musician Jordan Stevens traveled into the heart of Nigeria. What he discovered was both disturbing and revealing. The BM boys weren't hiding in the shadows at all. Many operated in plain sight, running scams from cramped internet cafes or even their own bedrooms, while openly posting their winnings online. Stevens sat face to face with young men who admitted to blackmailing strangers overseas. Some were barely out of high school. When asked how they felt about driving teenagers to despair, their answers were chilling. One smirked and shrugged. "They have everything in America. We have nothing here. We're just taking back what's ours." Another laughed as he explained how easy it was to make thousands off a single victim. There was no shame, no guilt, just a cold calculation and a belief that the world had turned its back on them, so they had every right to take what they could. To the BM boys, this wasn't crime. It was survival. It was hustle. It was a game they were winning. But the more they flaunted their success, the cars, the cash, the parties, the more obvious their arrogance became. They weren't just scamming behind closed doors. They were mocking their victims in public, turning stolen money into entertainment content. Their videos weren't just taunts, they were trophies. For the viewers of that documentary, the realization was unsettling. The BM boys weren't masterminds in suits, hiding in luxury apartments. They were young, restless, and unapologetic. They were a generation caught between poverty and digital power, rewriting the rules of crime for the age of social media. The rise of the BM boys has sparked alarms across the globe. What started as whispers in online safety forums has now been declared a full-blown crisis. Interpol calls it an epidemic. Law enforcement agencies in the US, Europe, and beyond warn that sextortion is one of the fastest-growing crimes in the digital age. Tech giants have scrambled to respond. Meta has shut down thousands of fake accounts tied to sextortion scams. TikTok and Instagram sweep through daily, banning profiles flaunting ill-gotten wealth. But the truth is sobering. For every account taken down, another pops up. The BM boys move fast, adapting, staying one step ahead. They know the system can't catch them all. And it's not just about volume, it's about borders. A teenager in Canada might be targeted by someone in Nigeria. A student in France may be extorted by a scammer in Ghana. The crimes cross continents instantly, while laws and jurisdictions move at a crawl. Police in one country often hit dead ends, blocked by international boundaries and encrypted platforms. Parents demand answers. Governments issue warnings. Schools now teach digital safety alongside math and science. But despite awareness campaigns, the numbers keep climbing. Thousands of new victims every year. Millions of dollars drained into the hands of these scammers. And behind every statistic is a family left in silence, wondering how something as small as a phone notification could destroy a life. This is the global battle. Law enforcement chasing shadows, tech companies plugging leaks, while a network of scammers turns fear into profit. The BM boys are not just a Nigerian problem, they are everyone's problem. And as long as shame keeps victims silent, the cycle will continue. Silent victims, emboldened predators, and a digital world struggling to fight back. In the end, the story of the BM boys is not just about scammers in Nigeria. It's about a world where desperation meets technology, and silence becomes a weapon. A single message can turn into a nightmare. A single click can destroy a life. And for too many families, the cost has already been unbearable. The BM boys thrive in the shadows, counting on fear, counting on shame. But the more we talk about it, the more we shine a light on their crimes, the less power they hold. Because in the end, their greatest weapon is not the scam itself, it's the silence of their victims. So remember, what you see online is not always what it seems. The smiling stranger, the flirty message, the quick connection could be the opening move in a deadly game. The question is, will the world learn to fight back before more lives are lost? If you found this story important, don't let it stop here. Hit that like button, share this video to spread awareness, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next investigation. And most importantly, subscribe to Cases of the Continent, where we uncover the crimes shaping lives across Africa and beyond. Your support helps us keep telling the stories that matter and exposing the truths that others want to hide.